Hello and welcome to Inking on the Fly with me, Amy Jasper. Here today I have a, I don't know what it's really called. I'm going to call it a tri-fold panel card. I'm sure it has a name floating around on the interwebs, but it's basically a triple fold kind of card. And when you open it up, it has its full length. Can stand on display and shows off designer series papers and beautiful things on the card. So it's quite simple. It's just a matter of getting to know kind of where your folds can be. And my finished card ends up being 4 inches wide, and then the standard 5.5 inches high. So and it features the hand-penned designer series papers. So that's what all of those designer series papers are. They're so pretty. And then I have used the stamps. Oops, the stamp is that I used is from the Tasteful Touches stamp set from Stampin Up. But any stamp that fits in the 2 3/8 inch circle die cut there would work just great. So I will show you how to make this. All right, so we start with a piece of thick basic white cardstock, and I have scored it at 4 inches. Let me use my paper to remind me of actually where I scored it. 4 inches, 6.5 inches, 9 inches, and 10.25 inches. So those are your measurements. I'll put that in the description on this video as well so that you have that as a reference. So we're going to accordion fold all of these folds, all of these score lines. And because this particular card has so many folds, it wants to kind of not stay flat. So some people with this kind of design will actually use a belly band or something to kind of hold it flat. I chose to not do that with this one. I just didn't want to do a belly band. So, yeah, because it wants to lift up, if you score it really, really carefully and make those score lines really crisp, then it won't just unaccordion as much. So yeah, scoring in this case is very helpful with your bone folder. Sorry, not scoring, folding. Using your bone folder to fold each crease is really helpful to keep it all more flat. Okay, so now I have that done. We can go ahead and take the scallop edge die cut that I have here. This is cut using the scallop edge die that is part of the, let me grab it here, part of the Pen Flowers dies. So that's what this long die here is, the one I used to die cut the edge of this scrap piece of thick basic white. And this ends up being about 3/4 of an inch wide, but it's the full 5.5 inch length so that I can attach it to this top flap on my card. So I'm going to go ahead and use my Tombow liquid glue. And I'm going to attach it so that the stitching is exposed. And maybe there's just a little bit of an edge. It's about probably a 1/16 of an inch between the stitching and the edge of that flap. So you can see how close, it doesn't want to focus. You can see how close I have that. So it's top to bottom, tucked in there. And then we can go ahead and attach the next piece. This is I think it's 1 1/8 of an inch wide. 1 inch wide would be just fine too, but I made it 5 3/8 of an inch long so that it's going to have a very small border, top and bottom. And that's going to go underneath in behind this folded front piece. So take that out, and then you have this panel here. That's where that piece is going to go. And you could use both sides. You can choose to use a different side of this paper. Both sides are beautiful, and really the paper works really nicely with each other. So switching it up would be really easy to do. So that piece fits really nice and snug in behind this folded panel section, exposing that polka dotted pale papaya color. Pale papaya, it's a new color. It's fun to use the new colors. Okay, then we have another piece of the designer series paper. This one has little bits of that cinnamon cider kind of brownie orange kind of coloring in it. And then the other side has the stripy mint macaron. But we're going to put glue on the stripy mint macaron side. I'm at the end of my glue, so I'm going to be shaking it a little bit more than usual. So that piece is going to go there, and I love how this style of card really gives us an opportunity to show off the beautiful patterns that are in these papers. Okay, so that was our first kind of 2.5 inch section. And then the next 2.5 inch section, we have another piece of the designer series paper, but I want the polka dot side to show on this one, and that will kind of pair in or work well with that little polka dot bit. Oh my glue, come on glue. It will tie in, that's the word I was looking for. It will tie in that polka dot bit on the front of the card really nicely, so it just sort of gives that bit of extra coordinating. So that one goes there, and then the last piece that I have of designer series paper to put in here is another piece that has the cinnamon cider kind of flowers mixed in there on the floral side, but we're going to use the striped macaron side, mint macaron, so that the stripes are going vertically. And that one's going to tuck right to the side here. And the size of that, I didn't tell you the sizes of these. So this one's 1.5 inches wide. These are all 5 3/8 of an inch tall. So that's 1.5 inches wide, and each of these panels is 2 3/8 of an inch wide to fit nice and snugly in their 2.5 inch sections. Okay, so that's our decorating with the designer series paper. We have room here to write, which is nice to be able to write a little something something. And of course, if you're making this with other pattern paper or making it your own way, then you can decorate it however you want. You might choose to stamp images instead of using designer series paper. You might choose to have this piece fully covered and then do your writing, your personal note on this panel. There's lots of opportunity to use this fold, but do your own decorating and make it your own. Lots of opportunity to switch it up. Okay, so that's the card base. So then we need, I have two circle dies. These are die cut from the layering circle dies from Stampin Up. So this one is a 2 3/8 inch basic white circle, and this one's basic black, and it is a scalloped one that's 2.5 inches. So I'm going to stamp my sentiment. Again, I'm going to use the Just Saying Hello from the Tasteful Touches stamp set because it fits so nicely. And I'm actually using, you might be surprised by this, I'm using Shaded Spruce ink. I was finding that the Shaded Spruce ink really kind of played well with the mint macaron and the garden green and the bits of other, like the blue tones in there, which I guess are I don't know what they officially are. They could be Pool Party or Balmy Blue. I'm not sure which ones those are, but I think it's more Balmy Blue. I'll have to look and see what the paper pack tells me, what color that is, that blue. Okay, this is going to pop up on Dimensionals on the black. And mine are hiding from me, as they often are. There we go. So Dimensionals, oops. Like that, so that we can pop that up. Give it a little bit of a frame, like that. Then we need our banner. This is Mint Macaron, and it measures 1 inch by 3.5 inches. And you can flag that by hand, as I have shown you in the past, or you can flag it using the, oops, I can't get the light right. You can use the Banner's Pick-a-Punch and flag it using the Banner's Pick-a-Punch. And with this punch, you can easily use any strip of paper that measures either the 1 inch to get that outside, the biggest strip, or 3/4 of an inch or 1/2 inch. And those will fit nicely into the little grooves in the punch, making it really easy to make that perfect every time banner end. And my strips, for whatever reason, I think my cutter's just off a little bit, so my strips are always just a tiny bit bigger than I think. So it's supposed to be 1 inch, but my strips tend to be like off by, I don't know, 1/16 of an inch all the time. So I slide it in, make sure it's snug up against inside the punch. And then I have my banner. So the other way to do that banner and have it, if you don't have the Pick-a-Punch, instead of trying to guess, I don't think I have another one kicking around. Oh, here we go. Instead of trying to guess where your, how to cut your slit by hand, where's my paper? My scissors have disappeared. There we go. So the other way to do it, and I've been playing around with this one, so it's already been cut, but if I undo this again, so the other way to cut your banner and make it even is to start by just cutting a slit up the center first. Then you can match the corner of that piece, cut from there to the top of that slit. And do that on the other side. And then you end up with your perfect banner end with the balanced banners. Rather than trying to cut diagonally and get it to match, that is very difficult. So it's just a lot easier that way. Okay, next thing we need is some ribbon. So I have some of the new and very beautiful evening evergreen ribbon. So I'm going to tie that on the end of my banner piece. And if you got a kit from me, then you have a nice generous amount of ribbon to work with. So you can make your bow as big or as small as you like. You could even tie the bow and attach it with a glue dot if you don't want to tie it to the flagged, to the banner piece. It's all about personal preference. I like tying things on because I feel like they're going to stay. They won't accidentally pop off on me. They could untie, mind you, but that doesn't happen very often. This ribbon ties really nice and tight, so it's not going anywhere. Then I can trim my tails. And then I can attach my circle, the bottom of my circle, to my banner. So I'll just use some more of my trusty handy dandy liquid Tombow glue. And you have to make sure when you're doing it this way, because this isn't going to end up all being glued down on the card. Where did my sample? Oh, there it is. My sample ran away. Because it's not all like you have the back exposed, you want to make sure that you don't put glue where you don't need it, because you don't want to end up with any exposed glue. And then with this one, I find with this stamp, it's best if you try to get the saying to be straight. The hello has a little dip under the L's, so it's a bit more difficult to make sure the hello is straight. But if you focus on this bottom of all the lowercase letters in saying on this particular sentiment, then it will be straight. Or more straight. Less crooked. How about we go with that? Less crooked. Okay, we're almost there. So this piece we're going to attach to the front of the card. It's our front element. And because our card base is 4 inches wide, and our envelopes from Stampin' Up! Fit 4 1/4 inch cards, we have a little bit of wiggle room if we want this side to hang over the edge a little bit, creating some interest. That's kind of a fun thing to do. If you're not into that, then you can just snug it up tidy. But even just having it over just that little bit feels, I don't know, it adds a little something, and I quite like that. So that's what I'm going to do. So again, I only want to put glue where I need glue. So I'm going to use my grid paper to help me determine where I want things to be. I want my mint macaron to be, the bottom of the mint macaron to be about 1 inch from the bottom of my card, give or take. It's not exact, but that's about where I had it before. So I know I'll put adhesive from that 1 inch area to, what is this? I don't even know. I'll just put my fingers between the two places so that I know, without losing my ribbon there, so that I know where I can put adhesive. Otherwise, again, I don't want adhesive to go anywhere other than where I want it to. So that's why I'm being so particular here. So 1 inch, so 1 inch is 4 squares on my grid paper, so that makes it easy for me to see where I need it to go. Then we have just one more thing to do. So we're going to add some little gems. I have here the Genial Gems from the new catalog. It's part of the hand pen suite. So we have some pale papaya gems and we have some mint macaron gems. So I'm going to use the mint macaron gems. I'm going to put one right there, and the other one is going to hang out up there to finish my card. So this card is super quick, super simple. I'm a little worried that my ribbon's going to slide off, so I might add a glue dot behind my ribbon because it's not actually attached to this panel very well. And because I tied it on, it might slide off, so I might need to just add a little glue dot underneath it to make sure it stays put. And then this will fit nicely in an envelope, and it will be a beautiful card for someone to put on display on their mantle. And it's it's always nice to have a fun new way to say hello. So thanks for watching, and I hope that you'll join me for another video in the future and another class. Yeah, thanks for watching.